most basic housing comes with 4 pickup points on the lower and 3 pickup points on the upper. And it isn't really that much more expensive than this housing. I'm not sure why the customer chose this, but they did. And I'm gonna have a talk with them about it this afternoon. So we just finished setting up this red car here on the hoist. And one of the most important things that we do in a setup is a chassis plot. And as I said in another video, if you don't get a sheet of your suspension geometry in your setup, you really need to find a different chassis person. But that leads us into another thing. We plotted this car out today, and this customer paid a lot of money for another company's 9-inch rear end. But in a non-mini tub version of a Fox body, their instant center is 158 inches in front of the car, which is nowhere near optimal. And on top of it, if you come underneath the car, they only have single pickup points on the housing. There's 1 pickup point on the upper and 1 pickup point on the lower. So there's nothing they can do to shorten that instant center up to get it in an optimized zone. They can't put any bracketry on the 9-inch just because the top bracket, the way it's configured. And the bottom bracket, they could actually cut these off and put a drop bracket on. But again, it wouldn't be optimal because you need to move both the front and rear. When we plotted this out, the upper control arm is dead level. It's the same measurement in the front as it is in the rear, which is what causes the instant center to be 158 inches out in front of the axle center line. So all of our, even our most basic housing comes with 4 pickup points on the lower and 3 pickup points on the upper. And it isn't really that much more expensive than this housing. I'm not sure why the customer chose this, but they did. And I'm gonna have a talk with them about it this afternoon. They bought the rest of our parts, which is great, and I appreciate it. Maybe they got a good price on this, maybe they had it, I don't know why. But again, you know, you see a lot of companies too. I've talked with people about our brackets, and again, they say, well, so-and-so's company has more holes in their bracket. And I understand that, but actually when you put 2 more holes above the stock hole, they're holes that will probably never be used, and obviously the stock hole isn't optimized either. So what matters is whether you have 3 or 4 holes beneath the stock hole, and holes above it are gonna be absolutely useless. So if you're paying for more holes, you're paying for useless holes, and nobody wants to pay for useless holes. So that being said, we'll show you what a real rear end should look like. So this is what I was talking about earlier in the video. We put a standard upper control arm bracket that has 3 holes in it, and a lower control arm bracket that has 4 holes in it. You have the stock hole and then 3 ones lower than the stock hole. This is a pretty basic housing that we sell. They did upgrade to doublers and a back brace, but all of our housings come with studs, a fill, and a drain. And again, the upper control arm bracket with 3 mounting points and the lower control arm mounting bracket with 4 points. This housing was damaged in shipping, so we're just gonna throw a coat of powder coating on it and use it as a display model. But basically, for maybe $100 more, the customer could have got a housing like this that had multiple pickup points on the top and multiple pickup points on the lower controller. So if you're spending your money now to have that housing fixed, it's probably going to cost them $400 or $500 to get the old brackets cut off and new ones welded on if they want the geometry right on their car. But again, with this combination, you can get a very good instant center underneath a Fox body Mustang and have a good rear end housing that's capable of holding, 1,000 horsepower pretty easily. So if you want to check out this housing and many of the other ones that we have, check us out at www.teamzmotorsports.net.